What's up everybody, Danny's here and we are back at it again with another video. But before we get into it, make sure you guys check out all the links in the description below. So, what I'd like to talk about is that there are lots of Nintendo 64 games on the Nintendo Switch. But however, now that I have played Zelda Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64, I would love to see the remake version of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Because definitely we've had a Zelda Ocarina of Time remake version, which is a 3D version on the Nintendo 3DS, but I would like to see a remake version of Zelda Ocarina of Time because there are recent games I have played on the Nintendo 64, like Super Mario 64, Pilot Wings 64, Mario Kart 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, and there's a lot, definitely. And I have played the new Rayman game, which was called Rayman 2: The Great Escape. It's amazing. I highly recommend to play this game on the Nintendo 64. If you haven't yet, though, definitely, because the new update was out already. But now, what I'd like to talk about is video game remakes that should definitely come to the Nintendo Switch. And yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But yeah, Zelda Ocarina of Time would be the best game to be remade on the Nintendo Switch with better graphics, with better gameplay, and with better controls. Because although the Nintendo 64 control is good though, but although I would like to see changes around. Because the Nintendo 64, I know that the controller is like kind of weird because of the joystick in the middle. Just using this controller for example. So we have this D-pad here, and then the control stick here, and then those buttons here, and then we have like the B-A button, and then these arrow buttons, and also you gotta hold it like that. But I've seen a few people do this every time. You can actually do this on your Nintendo 64 controller like that. If I could show you for an example. I think you can do something like that, definitely. Instead of doing something like that on your Nintendo 64 controller, you can always do this, which is the appropriate way I would do if I were you guys. But let me know, will this help if you have a Nintendo 64 controller? Because I would like to know in the comments below if you've done this before. If you have done this trick before when you use a Nintendo 64 controller on the Nintendo 64 on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, I totally get it. There's a lot people do somehow. Because the Nintendo 64, most likely it's one of the best Nintendo 64 consoles, and that's why they've added it to the Nintendo Switch. And they've added in the Nintendo 64 controller for the Nintendo Switch, but they've also added in a GameCube controller for the Nintendo Switch, but it's designed for the Nintendo Switch 2 and not for the Nintendo Switch. So the GameCube controller for Nintendo Classics is only designed for the Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't work on the Nintendo Switch, it only works on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now definitely though, there are Nintendo 64 features that do add in to the Nintendo Switch 2, but the Nintendo Switch does not. The rewind feature on the Nintendo 64, it is on the Nintendo Switch 2, but the Nintendo 64 on the Nintendo Switch does not. Which kind of makes a lot of sense though. There is a comparison, as I can tell. Now definitely when Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake is on the Nintendo Switch, hopefully we'll definitely see the comparison between the Nintendo 64, the Nintendo 3DS, and the Nintendo Switch. Now, otherwise though, let me know what is your favorite version to play on. What is your favorite version to play Zelda Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64 or on the Nintendo 3DS? I would like to know in the comments below. And plus, Zelda's 40th anniversary will be coming up pretty soon though, eventually, because Nintendo might do something special for Zelda's 40th anniversary. So let me know, what did you guys think? Would you guys like to see a video game remake of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo Switch? I would like to know in the comments below. And that's going to wrap it up here for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment and share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure to hit that bell notification every time you get notified when I post a video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace!